All we need is an intro.
All right. Any day now, Troy.
Why is it down to me? Why is it down to me, buddy?
Because it's your turn.
It's my... we don't do turns for the intro. It's just whoever's feeling funny, and normally that's me, you know, because I'm a very funny person, and you sit there and say nothing and dream about David Tennant being your dad, you know? It's not helpful.
David Tennant is my dad.
Right.
Thank you.
I wonder how many people have actually seen that song now, you know, how many people have listened to it, compared to how many people listen to this intro right now. There's probably a good portion of people who are thinking that you are just delusional right now, as opposed to having heard the song.
Do you think we'll see my dad at the end of Power of the Doctor?
Oh, stop. Roll the intro, roll the intro. Hello and welcome back to Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, the show where two YouTubers get together and talk about Doctor Who. I'm your host, Ron Archer Live, and with me is a man who's sulking. He's very sad today. I guess we'll find out why, because I'm going to ask him right now. Why are you sad, co-host by the name of Crispy Pro?
Because there's going to be a death in the family.
What?
Yeah.
Your sense of humour? Sorry, that was so mean.
Oh,
it looked like you were tearing up there for a second, and I was like, oh,
I was.
Wow,
I was.
You should be an actor.
I was drama captain of my school.
There you go.
Know? I was the lead in Grease Lightning. You ready? Watch this video, viewers. Watch this Grease Lightning dance move. You like that?
Oh,
like
wow.
that?
Oh, wow.
Well,
it's really good. He's whacked his mic. Good job.
Whacked my mic.
Yeah. So what are we doing today then? Why is it you're really upset? What's upset you?
Because, Troy, I don't know if you realise this, but this will be the last ever episode of the podcast that we do where Jodie Whittaker is our doctor. Oh, no. Yeah, I think the sentence kept going.
I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I'm announcing my retirement, thus the retirement of this podcast.
Yeah, it becomes Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast starring what happens when one YouTuber sits on his own and talks about Doctor Who. Doesn't quite have the same vibe, you know, doesn't quite work.
It's not quite the same ring,
Plus,
yeah.
it doesn't have the brand recognition. If I don't have Crispy Pro attached to it, what's the point, you know?
I don't know.
Exactly. The man who's got a studio for his videos now. I mean, you know, it was...
Apparently, quick shout out to that. Go and watch that video,
everyone. Go watch
everyone.
the Doctor Who series we never got, because that
has.
video is amazing.
Thank you.
It's very, very
And
good.
Jamie Magnus Stone, the director of Power of the Doctor, makes a very huge cameo in it, and he's been awesome. He texted me today, actually.
Did he?
Yeah, because he watched the video, and he was. What do you say? I'll find the exact.
Do it.
Do you want me to send you a screenshot, Troy, for the video?
Send me a screenshot or read it out or both, you know, do both because then I can see it while you're reading it out.
He said, "Bravo, dude. Congrats on the video. It's excellent. Super informative. Found out some things even I didn't know. Haha." So
wow.
he's having a great time. He's having a great time.
You could say it's a Jamie Magnificent Stone story. Forget it, Jamie Magnus Stone Magnificent. I'm okay, give me on that one. So today we're talking about Jodie Whittaker. So no, we're going to do a goodbye Jodie Whittaker episode. We're basically going to talk about our favourite things about the 13th Doctor's era. Are we not, Crispy?
Of course we are. This is our little send-off for her, because she deserves it.
Exactly. And speaking of, we have got a very big announcement. It's not really an announcement per se, more a confirmation of things you already knew. Kind of like when the Doctor Who account tweeted out the title of the episode was Power of the Doctor, and everyone was like, bro, we've known this. We already knew this.
We knew it. I read it in a magazine.
You didn't step up to the plate, my brother. You didn't step up to the plate. So, as a lot of you know, we've been hinting for a while. We're going to do a live episode when Power of the Doctor has aired, and we have now nailed down the time for when that's going to happen. So, this Sunday, 3 hours after the episode airs, so the starting time, so an hour and a half after it's finished, basically, at 10:30 p.m. BST, that's UK time, and that is therefore 7:30 a.m. AEST, correct?
Yes.
Yes, there you go. See, I'm getting good with my time zones, especially with Australian ones.
Very good. Yeah, I'm getting better with the UK as well.
Yeah. It's going to be late in the UK, so hopefully you guys can, stay up past your bedtime. Hopefully you guys can stay awake for it. But we are going to be talking about Power of the Doctor right after Crispy's seen it. The reason being it's a little bit later is because in the UK it airs from 7:30 to 9 o'clock, and only at that point do you get access to it in Australia. That's correct, right?
Correct.
So
for some reason.
Yeah, so you're going to watch it as soon as it's finished in the UK. I'm probably going to watch it again in the meantime. And then what will happen is I'll fire up the stream, hopefully with Crispy here. If he's a bit behind, then maybe what might happen is I start the stream and then he hops in right afterwards. But either way, we're going to do a live episode, and it will be a whole episode. We'll still do one for next Saturday. This is going to be an extra one in the middle, where we're going to talk about Power of the Doctor. And once we've done the live stream, as soon as I can, I'll get it up on audio platforms. It'll probably be more like Monday nights, about a day after transmission, because I've got a lot of lessons on a Monday. But I will try my best to get it out sooner if I can. I just can't promise it, because by the time we finish it, get the video downloaded, it might be a lot to get it done really quickly. Yeah. But I will try my best.
We'll get it out. We'll get it out to the people. We'll get it out,
and it'll be good. It'll be great. It'll be really, really good.
It's going to be a huge episode. I'm excited. I don't think we quite realise how big this is.
And I've got a T-shirt ready for the occasion. It's going to be in the thumbnail.
Oh,
so I can show it, because by this point the live event thumbnail will be up. But it is a Thasmin T-shirt, because I'm such a Thasmin stan.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and it says on it, on one side it says, I miss you too, and the other side says, I know you do. So it's the Flux quotes from the hologram. Nice. And it's got silhouettes of Jodie and Mandip.
Where is that from?
Forbidden Planet.
That's awesome.
It's very, very
That's
cool.
Awesome.
So I'll be wearing that in the thumbnails when we get those taken after this, because we're going to do all our thumbnails sorted after this, get them sorted. And I'll be wearing that on the live episode. Exciting times. So that's going to be the Power of the Doctor special this Sunday, 10:30 p.m. UK time on BBC One. I mean, YouTube.
Nice.
Yeah, Yeah. It's good. It's cool stuff. It's cool stuff. So, have we got any news to talk about, Crispy?
We kind of do. We kind of don't. What do you want to touch on first? That Dan is still alive?
Well, we discussed last week whether or not Dan was going to be alive, and that links very well into our poll, so we'll lead with that. We asked you all last week, do you think Dan Lewis will die in Power of the Doctor? And for the first time ever, the polls are completely in agreement.
Well done, everyone.
The Spotify poll has 38 votes. The YouTube poll is 171. We keep breaking records, and that's a new record on both. So that's insane. Thank you very much. But both polls have the same result, where 32% have said yes, and 68% have said no. So almost 2/3 of our audience don't think Dan is going to die. And leading into that, we said, I don't know whether he made it completely clear, I didn't think he was going to die. You don't think he's going to die. I think it was trying to make it look like he was going to.
I was open to the idea, but I don't know.
How dare you say you're open to the Scouts are dying? I will walk right out of this podcast.
I'll walk right out of here.
Yeah, now I'm going to walk right out of here. So
Where are you walking to?
The Pier Ed. So I was thinking, you wanted to be sad, didn't you? I've been thinking the whole time that he's going to quit early on. I think the train segment will be the start of the episode, and then he'll bail. There has been an interview that has come out, which I'm not going to talk about because Crispy hasn't seen it, but there's been a huge group of interviews released on the 15th of October, which was, Saturday? So weekend just gone. And it has interviews with Chris Chibnall, Jodie Whittaker, Mandip Gill, Sacha Dhawan, John Bishop, Janet Fielding, and Sophie Aldred, all in one big thing. And Crispy has chosen to avoid it for spoilers' sake. I've looked at a bit of it, and I didn't want to read the full thing either, because at this point, the episode, by the time you hear this, is out tomorrow. There's not much more that either of us want to hear. We want to just go in blind, okay? We just want to go in blind. Yeah. Well, as blind as we can. So, what I will say is, if I can remember to, I will leave a link to this article, at least on the YouTube version. I think I've forgotten to link things in the past, so I apologise. But I will try and leave it in the YouTube version, at the very least. So if you want to go and read it, feel free. All I will say is, there is a comment from John Bishop that seems to say, he's not going to be there for the full episode. That something happens, and, he kind of reevaluates stuff. I don't want to go into any more detail because I don't want to spoil it for Crispy as much as anyone else, but it leads into my personal theory that I think they've set up him leaving via calling Di at the end of Legend of the Sea Devils. He'll travel with him for a bit longer and go, right, I'm going to go and live with Di on the Pierad, So I think
just on that Pierad.
Just on the Pierad forever. Even when I'm not doing the Scouse accent properly, I still say Ed now. I'm just going to do it for the joke. On the Pierad.
Pierad.
Yeah. I was just looking for the Pierad. So I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to, leave to be with Di. That seems like the natural assumption. I don't think he's going to die. He's not going to die. He's going to be with Di. See what I did there?
Now that's a T-shirt. That's a T-shirt.
We just keep having T-shirt ideas for the podcast. Are we going to do this merch store anytime soon?
1K.
I need the money, bro. I need the money. Can we do it sooner?
700.
700. Oh, why not? Guys, can you subscribe? Can you guys subscribe? I'm going to slam my mouse on the table. Subscribe, everyone, please. Getting the jitters, How are we doing the money split then? Do we get 50-50 or do I get all of the money because I am greedy?
I'm gonna just put all the money into trying to get that Absorbaloff outfit. So.
Oh yeah, when does that bidding start? We actually should look into that.
I don't know.
Is it still in my history?
Can we like stream it and then just watch how much money?
Oh,
goes
imagine
into it?
that'd be so good. That'd be so good. I can't seem to. I don't remember what the link was. Oh, that's annoying. It's very annoying. I will have to look into this and see what I can find.
We don't have to worry about it, Troy. It was a little silly joke
I'm
from me.
worried because I want the Absorbaloff skin. That sounds really weird out of context. Okay,
it does.
The only other thing to talk about is that the final bits of promotion for Power of the Doctor have begun in the form of character posters. If you aren't used to this by now, in the lead-up final days to the episode, depending on how many characters there are, a poster releases every day for a character that takes a lead role in the episode, and it scales up from less significant character to most significant character. So obviously, with 1 day to go, it'll be the 13th Doctor. Presumably, 2 days to go will be Mandip. It might be Sasha. It might be one with the other, but I'm guessing it'll be Mandip, and Sasha will be 3 days to go.
Mandip, yeah.
Whatever. As of right now, we are 5 days to go. We've just got the 5 days poster half an hour ago. So let me talk you through the first 4 posters. So 8th place, so 8th most important character is Dan. Further enforcing he ain't going to have a huge role in this episode, which is still breaking my heart. But we move.
He's in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, and 7 days to go, just to really prove it, is Vinda. Vinda is higher in the priority in this episode than Dan. Don't get me wrong, I love Vinda. I'm very happy he's got a good role in this, but the fact that he's got more than Dan, I'm like, okay.
Strange.
It's very strange.
But
very
whatever.
strange. 6 days to go is Ace, and 5 days to go is Tegan. Although I would imagine those two have a pretty similar amount. They've just picked one or the other, you know?
Yeah.
So we've got 4, 3, 2, and 1 to go. My guess is probably going to be Kate Stewart for 4, Sasha Dewan for 3, and then Mandip and Jodie for 2 and 1. That's my guess.
Is Kate going to have that big of a role in the episode? We haven't really talked about her.
Who else would be there if not Kate? For one thing.
Osgood.
She's not been in the promo, in fairness.
Could you imagine they just release an Osgood poster?
What if it's Graham? We know that he's going to be in the episode because we've seen the set photos. It's just him being like, don't make me do the old soft shoe shuffle.
I can never stand that scene.
I don't know why you don't like it. I love it. It's great.
Oh,
it's Bradley
because
Walsh.
He could have killed someone. Can you imagine if he killed someone?
Because he is Bradley Walsh. He is Graham O'Brien. He doesn't miss. If he wants to miss someone intentionally, he does it intentionally. But if he wants to hit someone, he hits someone. But he's a good man. He does the old soft shoe shuffle and shoots around them, you know?
Nice.
Strictly Come Shoe Shuffling, you know? He's great. He's fantastic. He should do Strictly. He should do Strictly Come Dancing. Which, by the way,
Strictly with those on.
But when this goes out, Strictly Come Dancing tonight in the UK, they're doing a special episode where every song that the couples dance to is themes or something to do with BBC shows. One of them is going to be the Doctor Who theme. So we may well get something just as funny as the dance a few years ago where someone was dressed as the 13th Doctor and someone else had full Mondasian Cyberman outfit and face makeup. So I'm interested to see what they do with that. That'll be funny.
Ridiculous.
That'll be very funny.
Ridiculous.
If we get a picture, we might put it on the live stream when we go live on Sunday and go, hey, did you guys see this on Strictly last night? Oh, that'd be so good. Imagine if the couple doing the Doctor Who dance get voted out in the results show that airs right before Doctor Who. That would be.
Oh my god!
The Doctor Who couple gets removed as Jodie Whittaker's Doctor gets removed. I mean, it's going to be. That would be one heck of a night. That would be one heck of a night.
That's too much.
But that's on you, ladies and gentlemen. That's too much. Every time someone says that's too much now, I just think of BoJack Horseman. Have you seen BoJack Horseman?
I have, but I haven't seen the
Sarah Lynn quote.
That's too
much, man. I can't do that. I feel like now I've said that, I'm getting deja vu that I've made that reference before.
I think, yeah.
We're 30 episodes in. At this point, there's chances are I'm going to have amnesia and have forgotten things I've said.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even remember what we talked about the first episode. Paul, there's multiple Pauls, mate. I don't know how many Pauls we're up to now, but there's too many.
Today.
There's 100 Pauls now.
It was 67 last week, and now it's 100. It's crazy.
They're multiplying.
They are. They're multiplying at a very weird rate, but they are multiplying.
It's a very strange rate, but...
Crispy Pro. We have got a bunch of Spotify comments, and we've got some YouTube comments to read through. But before we do that, I think it'd be a nice idea for us to just sit and talk in a more unstructured episode, I feel like. Just talking about what we like about Jodie Whittaker era. Before I ask that, though, I have a quick question. Has your girlfriend replied about the text from the She-Hulk episode?
Yeah, she absolutely did.
So we're gonna just make a link here. We're not going to explain the context because then it makes you want to watch the She-Hulk episode, hopefully. But what did she say?
Yeah, absolutely. Nice smile. So there you go.
I agree. I like that.
Yeah.
So if you want to know what Crispy's girlfriend is talking about there, watch the newest episode of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast. Came out before
What a
this,
plug.
the She-Hulk episode. Normally we say you can jump in with any episode, but, our special episodes might not get as much attention, so we're trying to push it a bit more, Go and listen to us talk about She-Hulk.
Go and have a listen.
About
it's a fun
twerking
time.
and Daredevil and all sorts of stuff, It's a good mix, isn't it? Twerking,
Everything
Daredevil,
in
and
between.
British accents. I think that pretty much sums it up, right?
That's what we discussed, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good episode. But speaking of, let's do an even better episode right here, right now. So, Crispy, if I put a gun to your head right now, and I said, what is the greatest thing about the Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall era, what would you say? 3, 2, 1, go.
Jodie Whittaker herself. That casting. Has to be.
Okay,
Has to absolutely be.
Look
I
at
don't know.
that.
I don't know if Jodie was necessarily pushed to her limits as the Doctor. I think I would have liked to have seen a bigger range, but I think her as the Doctor is great casting. I think she brought so much to the show.
Yeah.
And just a very genuinely nice presence. And she had a lot of stuff thrown her way, but I think like her era in the end, one thing I will remember and take away will be Jodie Whittaker herself.
I really was worried you were going to change like folks then and go like, one thing I remember is Benny or something, and I was going to go, don't do this, don't do this.
No. That was a genuinely serious because I've been thinking about this. I literally just before we got on and recorded the She-Hulk episode, I watched Village of the Angels.
Oh,
and a cracking episode because I'm doing a little bit of a flux rewatch.
What did you just say? What did you just say?
I'm doing a little bit of a flux rewatch.
The first time you said it, that sounded like something completely different, brother. Let me tell you.
A little bit of a flux rewatch.
Stop fluxing about.
Stop fluxing. I'll walk right out of here. Sorry. But
no one's going to give a flux about listening to us if you carry on the way you're going.
Ah, very good. Very good.
I'm very witty.
Wait.
I'm
very,
so fluxing
very
funny.
witty.
All right, enough now.
Enough.
I'll start making Thanos jokes again if you're not careful.
I know. I was about to bring up
I could have said
before we know
because
it.
the poll had the same amount of responses on both sides that it was perfectly balanced as all things should be. But I won't say that, so let's move on. So Jodie Whittaker was fantastic.
I'm so glad you didn't say that.
She had some amazing moments. What would your favourite 13 moment be if you were going to pick one out? What stands out to you as like the most iconic 13 moment?
I feel like you and I might have the same answer here, Troy.
Go on.
The Haunting of Villa Diodati.
Yep, save the poet, save the universe. Yeah. It's a great moment.
So good.
So good. Fire and rage, and I really wish we'd had more of those moments for sure.
Oh, but yeah. Absolutely.
It makes that episode stand out. I wish Maxine Alderton had written more for 13. I think that's my big takeaway because she, like both of her episodes, Haunting of Villa Diodati and Village of the Angels, are commonly regarded as two of her best episodes. I
agree.
They're fantastic. And I would have loved to have seen what else Maxine could have written for her.
Yeah, but Troy, gun to your head. What is the best part of the Jodie Whittaker, Chris Chibnall era?
Well, I was going to go for a more generic thing. I kind of feel sad that I wouldn't have said Jodie off the top of my head now because I agree with you. But I would say the general aesthetic, cinematography, and vibe of the era. Because the cinematography was different.
It is different.
The aspect ratio is different because you got kind of like the mini letterbox lines. The camera, like, kind of ratio is different. But just the way everything's filmed, the camera angles, the landscape shots, the general colour scheme to it feels a bit more kind of vibrant, but also aesthetic at the same time. There's an interesting kind of like colour scheme going on. It feels to me like, it definitely isn't, but it feels like the first time that Doctor Who has really thought about how it looks from just a colour scheme perspective and how bright things are, that kind of thing, rather than just set designs, things like that. It feels like there's a proper aesthetic consideration going into it here, which is something that is very unique to Jodie's era, and I will always love about that. And that also ties into the intro sequence as well, and the aesthetic, because Seeker Akinola's score has been a polarizing thing for a lot of people, mainly because the negative opinion is he's not Murray Gold, but like his music fits that vibe really well. I think everything goes hand in hand. Like when you talk about an era of Doctor Who, I can't tell you any era that feels more unique in the way it's done overall than Jodie's. And I think part of that's down to the fact that it's a completely unique team. Segan, Chris, and Jodie only ever works together. There was no overlap. So you can't say David Tennant's era was the most unique because it was David Tennant, Rusty Davies show running, and Murray Gold composing. Well, Murray Gold composed for 4 of the Doctors, so none of their eras feel as unique. We've got a unique composer, unique cinematography, and just a whole different vibe. And that's, like, to some people that will make it stand out in a bad way, but to me that makes it stand out in a good way. Because it's like this, it's this own little, unique little section of Doctor Who that stands out for good reasons, I think, personally. Some really good reasons.
That's really well put. That is really well put, Troy. Because it definitely, I think you and I can both agree on this. I think we might have said this before, that this is probably the best Doctor Who's ever looked.
Absolutely.
And I'll probably die on that hill. I'll die on that hill. I know that we'll get the shoddy, green screen shot every now and again. But I mean, part of Doctor Who's charm, it's never been like, the most high budget thing ever. But I mean, we gave it a fair crack in the Jodie Whittaker era. Like some of those episodes, my goodness, you'd think they were multi-million-dollar productions. But no.
And let's be fair, even the big budget things like Spider-Man No Way Home get criticised for their green screen.
Exactly.
Do you remember that scene of is it Flash looking at his phone near the start of the film? Everyone was like, that's a green screen behind him? Wow, terrible film. Which, by the way, if you noticed it, fair, but why do you care that much? Just let it go, please. Okay, just
everyone's a filmmaking critic now.
In the words of Doctor Who Series 10, Episode 2, smile. Okay, just smile.
Nice.
That was good. See, like I did there. So, even the big
really,
budget
really
things,
good.
you're going to get criticism for VFX and green screen. So if Doctor Who's only getting a bit of it, who cares? Which, by the way, did hear on the side note, I think Christian will mentioned it in that big interview. He said that there are more VFX shots in Power of the Doctor than any other episode of Doctor Who.
Correct.
The VFX team will work to hopefully not to a bad extent, but down to the knuckle to get as many VFX shots in as possible for the episode to make it a big spectacle. So that's exciting.
Well, they had time as well. They have
had
time because, as we said, they've been wrapped for a year.
True. Yeah, I forget. Of course,
they would have been working for a long
but just
long
for
time.
Specific post production for this 6 months. And also just the tease of Rusty Davies, Chris Chibnall saying he did mention in the interview very briefly about, the seeing, I get even towards the end of the episode, I get to become a viewer again, and it's really exciting, and it's like, something's up.
Something's up.
What? Donna! But yeah, so for me, it's the general vibe of the era, and also it's probably one of those things where I might change my mind later down the line, but I think the intro is probably my favourite intro, ? Like the theme and the look of it. It's just
a banger.
I love the like the more kind of understated kind of warm up into it. It's nice.
Well, sometimes in the, especially, I feel like there are some episodes in the Peter Capaldi era where, the sting comes in and it's just, so jarring and it goes...
Yeah, because Peter Capaldi's is a great intro, but it is, it's quite high-pitched also.
Oh, it's very, very much, but, with this one, it starts off very low-key and then you get the bass drop and then...
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You don't even get, the leading into it, do you? Because it kind of... Sometimes you get a bit of, a... Like, it kind of leads in, but that's as far as it goes.
No, you still get a lead in, but it's not as, in your face as previous ones.
The Flux theme is slightly different. I don't know if I mentioned... Did I mention this to you? The Flux theme
you have mentioned this.
So it's kind of got, like an underlying note in the background where it kind of goes... coming in over the dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, like an extra little bit of instrumentation in there.
Oh, cool.
Only a tiny little thing, but it sounds a little bit better. I like it because there's more of a build up to the main intro, and it's nice.
Yeah.
Which I love. And I remember, I don't know, did we ever talk about it specifically on the podcast? I don't know. But at the end credits of Village of the Angels, where it sounds more subdued, and the credit theme, theme is
I
more
just watched
quieter.
that.
Well, the reason it's quieter, they've taken the drums out, and the drums are meant to be more like the Doctor's heartbeat. So because the Doctor is stone, there's no heartbeat, and therefore no drums in the end credits. Because it's
awesome. I never knew that.
Heartbeat. Yeah, there you go. That's why it was taken out.
Because I was wondering that, and I was thinking, did they do that for every credit in Flux? But no, they only did it for
just Village of the Angels. Yeah,
that's so cheeky. Come on, guys. I know people hate on this era a lot, but there is obviously attention to detail, and a little bit of care.
Yeah,
come on. Well, fantastic. Not heart in that end credit scene. I'll tell you that much.
No heart. I've only got one heart working. How do you people cope?
Oh, how do you do it?
Yeah, how do you do it? How do you people manage one heart? It is pitiful. Oh, Matt Smith, man. You've got to watch House of the Dragon.
I'm busy.
He can keep his tongue. Anyone who's watched the episode knows what I'm talking about there. My favourite Matt Smith moment probably in the entire show. Just a big grin on his face as he basically does a naughty thing with someone's head and a sword. I don't know how specific I can be because we're trying to be family friendly and clean. No, I mean with a sword. He's not done anything like that. He cut somebody's head. Okay, I was trying to... Yeah, and then his follow-up line, while looking very pleased with himself, is, he can keep his tongue, because someone said, I'll have your tongue. And that was his little follow-up line, and he's just grinning. It's Matt Smith energy. Nice. I love him. I love
a bit of Matt Smith energy.
He's great, I love Matt Smith energy, especially when he's dancing topless in the hit Sony film Morbius. I'm sorry. Okay, moving on. So,
Sorry.
the next question for our episode that I've got for you, Crispy. You ready for this?
Oh, okay, yeah, let's go.
I've got questions. You said there was going to be no structure, but you know what? I'm not like you. I plan these things, okay?
He's coming out with questions.
We did it with She-Hulk as well. We actually are putting effort in, guys. This is the podcast with a plan, after all. My question is this. How would you order the 3 Jodie Whittaker series from worst to best, or most favourite to least favourite, or however you want to phrase it? How would you order them? I think I know what your answer is going to be here.
Oh, I don't know, because I'm actually really glad you asked this, because I've been thinking about this for quite a bit. Because as I've said previously, I just completed a Series 11 rewatch, and I remember in 2018 not really liking it. It was so different to Peter Capaldi's and your Matt Smiths that I grew up on, and I didn't know if I vibed with the aesthetic. I don't know if I liked Jodie Whittaker as the Doctor, but the companions weren't really doing it for me, so I was like, oh, Series 11, not sure. On my rewatch, my goodness, did I have a great time with it. I'm not sure why necessarily didn't appreciate it at the start. I must have been a silly boy.
You are silly,
but I have a new found appreciation for Series 11. And so then when it comes to Series 12, I've been rewatching that one. And whilst at the time, I think I really loved it more than Series 11 because it felt more interconnected. You know, you had your 2-parters and, you know, you had your big reveals and big lore reveals. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the Doctor who I like. But I really have an appreciation for Series 11 trying something different.
Oh.
So
Never mind.
In saying that,
no.
I think this might be controversial. At the bottom, I'm going to put, not by far, but Series 12. Okay? Then Series 11, and then Flux. I think Flux is brilliant and the best thing in the Jodie Whittaker era, and I wish we had more of that.
Wow.
But yeah, I know, it's huge. It's huge, and I know some people are definitely going to disagree with me. I don't think... it's really hard. Look, it's not by much. It's not by much, okay?
Stop trying to get out of it. Stop trying to get out of it.
But your turn, Troy. Your turn.
11, 12, 13, worst to best, done.
Wow.
Didn't need to think about it the way you did. I just know it in my head.
I would have had the same answer as you, but I had a bit of a think about it. I had a bit of a personal reflection, and that's what's really important here. All right? This entire episode is looking back on the Jodie Whittaker era, all right?
That's
so
true.
You can't walk in here and just palm it off like it's nothing. Have a think for a second. All right? Have a thought.
I have. I think for many years of my life, I think constantly. Like, I think right now about, do I want another cookie? And the answer is yes. So I'm going to open one right now.
Can I please have a cookie, Troy?
You said you didn't want one when I asked you last time. This is great for the audio
and it's not last time, is it?
There you go. Here you go.
This time.
Do you want a cookie? I'm just going to slip it out the packet, and then you can just grab it really quickly. This is going to be so bad for audio. I'm so sorry, audio listeners. There you go. Okay, I'm going to eat a cookie.
Delicious.
You talk for a second. Try and guess my reasoning for 11, 12, 13 while I eat a cookie.
Well, Troy... when he was watching Series 11, he was very, very naughty and was watching some of those YouTubers that would bag on the show, and that skewed his perception of Doctor Who. And then he did a rewatch with your mum, I think, and then you found a newfound appreciation, much like myself recently, for the show and this era. But in regards to why it's down the bottom, I don't know. I actually don't know. Spyfall, the Master reveal. That was huge. You like the Captain Jack reveal. I don't know. I'm trying to think of the other highlights for Series 12 here. I'm struggling.
Well, I will say this. The YouTubers I was watching that were not very good at the time was during the Series 12 run. Don't ever specify that very much.
Okay.
When I watched Series 11, it was different. And I liked to start with, but I felt like it kind of weaned off a little bit towards the end. I think I'd heard some people talk about it being a bit like, does it feel like Doctor Who as much anymore? But I was just kind of like, I like her. I'm not so sure about the episodes themselves. 12 was the big kind of like everyone dunking on it thing, and which I just kind of, as I've said, no longer believe that, no longer agree with it, keep away from all those people. But for me, I don't know, Series 11 is really good, as you said, for doing its own thing, and I have rewatched the episodes, I've watched them with my mum again, I think, but it wasn't necessarily that changed my mind, it was just watching them again generally. But Series 11 has some really, really good episodes. I love Woman Who Fell to Earth, as you know. It's like my favourite opening Doctor episode. It's an iconic episode. I love like Rosa, Demons of the Punjab. I like Kablam. Some really good stuff in there. But 12, it's kind of, as you said, it feels a bit more interconnected and there's more kind of lore stuff. Spyfall Part 1 and 2 I love, especially for that Master reveal. As you know, I adore that. Fusion of the Jadoon is just fantastic. The Jadoon were done fantastically. The Roof Doctor I really like, and I love that reveal. And Captain Jack coming back. You know, Captain Jack's my boy. One of my favourite characters in Doctor Who. Having him come back was just insane and so unexpected. Like, I remember Twitter was trending with the words Captain Jack, but it only had about 2,000 tweets, and we were a bit late watching the episode, and I was like, it's like, I've seen something on Twitter here, and if this happens, it's going to be insane, but I highly doubt it. Mum was like, okay, fair. Then we watched it, we both went, no, what? Excuse me? Captain, what? No? How?
That's so funny.
Haunting of Villa Diodati, ironically, the first time I watched it, I wasn't very into it for the first 20 minutes, because it felt like it was all over the place. I think I just was, you know, very distant or something, because watching it again, I was like, I don't know what I was talking about. But I loved essentially the Cybermen and the Timeless Children. Like, I loved kind of what it did there. So to me, it feels like more it's like, you know, Jodie's era, we set it up as something unique and different. Now let's tie it into the rest of Doctor Who properly.
Exactly.
And I think it landed really well. So I enjoyed that more. But Flux, despite being the season that wasn't meant to happen, despite being a season that very nearly didn't happen, and the 6-part story being something that was done because of COVID, I think it's just a fascinating piece of Doctor Who. I love that we got a whole series that was one big story with its own interconnected bits in the middle and like unique stories and stuff, but this whole array of characters, this whole overarching story about the end of the universe and how it links to the rest of the Jodie Whittaker era, I think it landed really, really well. I really enjoyed it. It definitely has its like little missteps here and there for sure.
Oh, of course.
The biggest one, of course, being the fact that it isn't said word for word that the universe has been on, like the Flux has been undone. Like that is a big error in the Vanquishers that they don't specifically say that, but we can just assume that's what was done. And there's the odd bit of dialogue afterwards in like Either Daleks where it's like, okay, maybe, but Flux as a series, I absolutely adore. I loved, like, I felt like almost like a little kid again every week watching the episodes one after the other and watching the tie-in and getting excited on the cliffhangers. It was just, it's not necessarily a feeling I hadn't had for Jodie's other series, but it felt heightened for that series in particular. I just felt more hooked by it. And also it was set at Liverpool.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
Yeah, you know, seeing Sontarans march through your local shopping centre is a pretty good feeling, I've got to tell you.
It's an honour.
It is.
But I feel like, with Flux, especially the Halloween Apocalypse, I remember being so excited going into that episode. So excited. And I feel like even like going into the Power of the Doctor now, like it's that same excitement. Like I love this damn show. And I'll be sad to see like this era over. And I feel like it's gonna age well. I think I'm gonna call it now. This era is gonna age well. Give it 20 years down the line, we'll be like, God, you remember that? Remember?
It'd be like Capaldi's era.
Diodati? Yeah, exactly.
Because Capaldi has had a lot more love, I think, since his era has ended. Myself personally, I loved his era, and I really loved Series 10, but I really properly loved 12 more after it had finished. It was like in 2020 during the lockdown stuff.
I won't forget the amount of discourse around Stephen Moffat. That man got.
Well, that's never going to change. That's never going to change.
So much hate. So much hate, and then everyone. Oh, thank goodness, you know, Chris Chibnall's coming in to save the day, and then of course, you know, it's just with every era.
Roger Davies is coming in to save the day.
Save the day, and I don't think like people. I'm not ready for people to criticize Russell T Davies because I know he's going to do a stellar job. You know, he's going to take risks. He's already said like recently that he's going to have a story based all about global warming. You can imagine exactly like what type of YouTube content's going to come out of that. Orphan 56.
Hell yeah,
that's
baby.
Exactly
That's
it.
the thing. People are going to accuse him of being like putting too many political themes and stuff in, and they're going to completely forget that was all his stuff was. I mean, the 4th and 5th episodes of his very first series of Doctor Who are about politicians talking out their backside, hence why it's aliens disguised as politicians that fart. It's a metaphor,
Correct.
Okay? Please tell me we understand this. I didn't for a long time, but obviously, you know, when you get older, you realise these things, and you go, oh, wow, it's because they're talking out there. Oh, yeah, cool, gotcha, you know? So I can't wait to see what he does with current UK political climate to mock for the UK.
He's going to be cheeky. He's going to be cheeky.
You know, when you've got a chancellor that says, oh, I'm not going anywhere, and then 24 hours later is sacked, there's definitely opportunities there for you to write some very funny political, satirical references, and I have no doubt Russell will capitalise on that.
He's pretty on brand. He'll
be very on brand. He'll be very on brand. But we're not talking about him, though, Crispy, okay? We're talking about Jodie.
No, we're not.
We're talking about Jodie. We're talking about Chris Chibnall. We're talking about Mandip Gill. We're talking about Tosin Cole, who is in a new... have you seen the new trailer for the film he's in? Called, like, what's it called? House Party, I think?
Is it called...
He's looking after...
I threw a basketball once for an entire series.
Well, ironically, wait till you hear what it's about. The film's about... He's a house sitter him and his friend go and sit in the house, and they're looking after LeBron James's house. So, basketball, swish!
Are we getting more Tosin Cole basketball content?
Possibly. It stars Tosin Cole, Jacob Lattimore, Karen Obolom, DC Youngfly, and Scott Mescudi. I don't know who half of those are. Film is also produced by LeBron James through his production company. Wow. I've seen the trailer for it. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Like, it's a bit of an American comedy thing.
I think Tosin Cole's a fine actor. It's just a very strange...
Oh, no, I meant the film, not necessarily Tosin. I was going to say the film itself. It's one of those American comedies where it's like, yeah, it's funny, but I'm not sure if it's going to be my kind of funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Tosin, like, it feels like he's got a lot of kind of energy to his role. A bit more than I think he had for Ryan. Ryan, he played very subdued and... Very, very, very subdued. A lot of people loved Ryan. That's fair. And I can see that obviously he's a very relatable character. To me, just felt like there wasn't as much in his personality to kind of lure me in. He had some great moments. I just don't think he had enough. Like, that was it's the thing we've said about a million times. That scene in Resolution with his dad, like, that is so good. And even though he's a subdued character, that performance he gives is phenomenal. And I just wish we'd had a few more chances with that. But that's also what happens when you got three companions at the same time where they haven't been set up individually. Why are you raising your hand? Are you trying to reach for something on the ceiling?
I've just got a question.
What? Bro, you're my co-host. You're not in my class. Come on, man.
I don't know if I've asked you this question before, Troy.
No, you haven't.
Okay. Can you rank Jodie's companions for me? Pretty please. Can you do that for me real quick? Ooh. It's a tough one. I think I figured it out in my head.
Are we just talking about like main companions? So Ryan, Graham, Yaz,
the main
Dan.
four.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we're not talking about like Vinder or something because he was like a passing companion, right?
No.
Oh, Ryan's at the bottom, obviously. Sorry, Ryan.
Sorry, Ryan.
I think then Graham, despite loving Bradley Walsh, I think he's probably next. Beyond that, it's difficult because Mandip Gill has had 3 years with Jodie. I love her relationship with Jodie. I love Mandip just generally. I think she's phenomenal. But then Dan was such a fresh face, a great addition. The comedy, he's a Scouser. I've loved John Bishop since I was a kid. It's difficult to make an unbiased decision about this to the point where my chair just clicked while I was talking. I love that. Just clicked it again.
Love that.
I don't know. I don't know. I guess for being there longer and being, the more iconic character of Jodie's era, I think I'd have to say Yaz at the top and Dan second. I think that seems like the fair allocation. I can't let my Scouse peer-ed bias get in the way of the amazing performance of Mandip is phenomenal.
It's very honest of you.
Yeah.
It's very honest of you,
Ryan,
Troy.
Graham, Yaz, Dan. No, Ryan, Graham, Dan, Yaz. Sorry, my subconscious came through then.
You even, like, your brain was like, no,
Dan's got to be at the peer head of the list, He's got to be at the peer head.
There it is, right at the peer head.
I hate how much of a running joke this has become now.
Oh, no, I love it. We have to keep it going if we want it to be merch, mate. We have to keep it going.
That's true.
It is very true. But yeah, I'm in complete agreement with that. I would have the exact same list. And I did have a hard time thinking about whether I like Yaz or Dan more. Because I feel like it's funny, because Yaz we had for the longest time. Yeah. Dan we've had for the shortest time. But I feel like they've done so much with Dan. And like John Bishop's performance is just great. Like it's honestly so much fun.
Says the bloke with the floppy ears
in Doctor Who. Yeah.
so many great passing lines and stuff like that that's just so good. You're just going around knocking on people's doors. Don't be throwing eggs at my house.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, let's just say, no other Doctor Who character has become a meme in a single episode the way Dan did with Evil Dan.
Oh my... It took off. Evil Dan?
I'll take a couple of them soups for tonight.
Jodie Whittaker era for me.
I just remember every time, I remember Doctor Who Poop, the YouTube channel, every time they did a new Evil Dan meme, I had to show my mum immediately, because she was as into them as much as I was. So I was like, look, there's another Evil Dan meme. She's like, oh, really? So she was like looking at them as well. I love just that, Nanite Doctor Who, like he's like killing the Doctor and stuff with a pan deflecting a Dalek beam. It got so creative, and I love that you might have forgotten this, and maybe we might finally get to see this. Okay, the only thing John Bishop was allowed to say about Dan's character before Flux came out was, "My name's Dan, and I'm a plasterer from Liverpool." Not once in Flux was it mentioned or shown or described or anything that he was a plasterer. So I really hope we do right by his character arc, the big character arc that was set up from the start of Flux, and I hope at the end of the episode, in Power of the Doctor, we get to see him living happily with Di, doing some plastering. Come on, Chibnall.
I hope so.
Come on, Chibnall. You've got to.
So.
You've got to.
Please.
You know, we saw him trying to be
so funny.
trying to be a museum tour guide, though that wasn't his job. We saw him being charitable, giving out food at food banks, and, you know, getting offered some soup, and then he didn't take any soup, and he said, "Ooh, like soup, really?" But we never saw him do his actual job. You know, so not good. Not good. Come on.
That's the takeaway.
Maybe he lost his job. I mean, he didn't have any food, and he did say, "Take the soup, will you?" Maybe he's a former plasterer. Maybe he lost his job.
Wow.
Maybe he had a business. Maybe he was self-employed and it fell through.
I want to see a Dan prequel movie.
I want to see Dan at the job centre.
Dan at the job centre.
I was just looking for a job at the pier, Dad. Is there any tour guides going? We got to stop this.
He should. Oh, that would be it. I actually wouldn't mind that. What if he just becomes a tour guide?
At the pier head. That combines some of his best moments. Look at that.
Well, he could work there with Di. That would be kind of cute.
Oh, yeah.
Gives him a little badge. Come on.
Yeah. I am the Ed of the pier.
The Ed of the pier.
The Ed of the pier. Yeah, the Ed of the pier.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dan was amazing. So let's go with our final question. I think that rounds this up really well, because it's just been a generic discussion. This has been fun, you know, reflecting on the era. I'd do it for much longer if it'd been live, but I've got to edit it, mate. I've got to edit it. And we've got to read fan responses, okay? We've got to get into those. So,
yeah,
you have to pick your 3 favourite episodes of the Jodie Whittaker era.
Gosh.
We put 7 in the S tier, and it would have been 8 if you hadn't have fought me about Future of the Jadoon so much. So, you've got to now pick your 3 episodes, whether they're... I'm going to give you a get out clause here. If you can't pick your 3 favourites, pick 3 that sum up the Jodie Whittaker era the best. So it could be either way of there. So 3 episodes that either are your personal faves, or sum up the era, or a bit of both. What would you pick?
Okay. I can do this. Number 1. The Woman Who Fell to Earth.
Agreed on that.
Banging opener. Absolute banging opener. Love that.
Sets a great precedent for era. Great vibes. And the characters all get some decent time. Jodie's introduced fantastically.
It is great.
It's just top tier.
And Jodie and Peter's outfit, you're joking. You're joking. That's so cool.
That was amazing.
That's so cool.
Not to mention, seeing that again, I meant to mention this earlier, actually, just to slip in and also give you some more time to think. Did you see the trailer that the Doc 2 channel did a couple of days ago for the 13th Doctor's era? And then it also had some teasers for Power of the Doctor, which, by the way, about 20 seconds of that 1.5 minute teaser is all about Thasmin. So, hopes are getting up.
Thank you.
My hopes are getting higher, you know, for that 10-minute Thasmin kiss. But I watched that trailer, and I teared up a little bit. I was like, oh no.
Oh, I was wow, it's really ending. Hey.
I was like, oh no. It's a running joke. We watched a video earlier where someone said it was a Tinder video, and someone said a really bad pickup line, and someone behind just went, oh no. Like a really deadpan reaction, and we keep making that joke now because it was just really funny to us. Just oh no.
So in the future when we say oh no, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you won't know, but you'll know. I mean, if you've seen Sidemen Tinder 4, you'll know what we're talking about. If you haven't, then go watch it and then listen in the 35-minute video for the 1 minute where someone goes oh no, and then you'll know what we're talking about.
Oh no.
So moving on from that. So Woman Who Fell to Earth. What's your next pick?
Number 2, possibly Jodie's best performance.
Oh, Orphan 55.
Orphan 55.
Because it's a number 2.
Oh, I know that was the
no, because it's a number 2. It was a joke about the number 2 because it's
there's layers like an onion. That was good.
Ogres have layers. Oh, I rolled the R. Did you hear that? Layers. Just pick an episode,
That's good. I want to give Villa Diodati. 100%. 100%. Love that.
Okay.
And then number 3, I'm trying to pick one from each series here. I was thinking about Village of the Angels, but honestly, War of the Sontarans. That is a very good episode.
Good, because I wasn't going to pick that and I wanted you to.
Oh, there we go. No, I think that's like, if I was looking at like a Jodie Whittaker era episode, War of the Sontarans, you're like, damn, that is fun. That is a gorgeous looking episode, very funny, and actually is a good Sontaran story. So there you go.
Okay, fantastic. So I would say for my 3, Woman Who Fell to Earth, as we've already said, fantastic opener, sets the tone really well, also shows that Chibnall can do good original villains. Tim Shaw was brilliant. Zim Shaw, you know?
Zim Shaw.
With his teeth face. For Series 12, I'm going to do the same thing as you, actually. It is going to be one from each series. Series 12 is Future of the Jadoon. That episode, it shows... I know there's the argument to be made of, it's reusing old things from Doctor Who, but Doctor Who... as always, makes callbacks to previous things and uses new things. It was something we didn't expect. We didn't think, Chibnall's probably going to reuse the Family of Blood thing about the chameleon arch. No one thought he was going to do that.
No.
Nobody expected that. We got a really cool Doctor out of it, and while there is some kind of debate over how it works with the future Doctor's TARDIS being a police box, which is before the William Hartnell. Apparently there is some explanation in her comics that explains that, so, go look that up if you want to know. But just that whole thing, and Captain Jack coming back, the Jadoon being back, and in my opinion, at least they looked better. Because in Smith and Jones, the mouths kind of move in an animatronic way, whereas in Future the Jadoon, if you look properly, they move in proper time with their words. It looks like they're actually speaking. And I remember that being a huge step up, and I was like, wow, they've done my Rhino boys well there. Especially because,
the Rhino boys.
They were my first Doctor Who monster. Smith and Jones was my first episode. They were my first monster. See them brought back and done better almost in a lot of ways. I love that.
Nice.
I love that.
Good choice, Troy.
So there's that. And also just for everything it sets up with, like, the Master references and all that. It's just phenomenal. And then for Flux, I think I would pick out probably... I want to do an honourable mention for the Halloween Apocalypse, because that, in years to come, I feel like we're going to look back on that as one of the best opening episodes of Doctor Who. Maybe you won't agree, but...
Nice.
Despite, obviously, there's discussions over whether the 6 episodes held everything well with the plot arcs and the characters and whether they were balanced well, but... I know all people also said there's a lot being set up in this first episode with all these different characters, but it just felt like they were setting up almost a new universe within Doctor Who, with all these characters and all these plot lines, and as the episode's ending with that really good music, you're seeing each of them pop up in different places.
That's such a
Woman
good
set
ending.
back in time, Vinda escaping the Flux, the Doctor Yaz and Dan about to get attacked by the Flux, Swarm and Azure Cat kidnapping Di, who's been taken hostage. It's like all over the place, and it goes between all these different things. The Sontarans attacking, like... That whole episode sets up something fantastic. There's a great chemistry between 13 and Yaz, and we do get some of that. And then we get Dan introduced in like a phenomenal way. But I think, personally, also a little bit as a bit of a joke, because it proves the theory wrong of, the Weeping Angels always get worse. Village of the Angels is just, it's expertly done. And then that way we've both picked Maxine Alston stories in our choices as well.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, so Maxine Alston, come back in Rusty Davies' era. Okay, I want you to co-write every episode with him. Thank you very much.
Or Crispy Pro's era.
We'll hire her for, what was the idea? I was going to be the Doctor and you be the showrunner. Well, she could be our assistant writer. She could be the Stephen Moffat of your era, the way he was for Rusty Davies.
Nice.
See? Whenever she doesn't show up much, but when she does, it's always a banger.
Oh, it's a banger. It's
Empty
a banger.
Child, Blink, Silence in the Library. Come on. Come on.
You're joking.
I still can't believe it. Imagine if he'd written an episode in Series 2, Stephen Moffat. What would it have been like?
He did.
He did!
Go on the fireplace.
Go on the fireplace! What's wrong with me? That's also phenomenal.
Troy.
Can we cut that out?
17 DVDs.
Can we cut that out and that didn't happen?
Look, you're editing this, so if you leave it in, you're an honest man. If you take it out, they'll have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, no, it won't matter. Honest or not, they'll never hear it. I'll be a good man. Of course I remember the girl in the fireplace. I'm being a silly Billy. Okay, I'm being a silly Billy.
You're being a silly Billy.
I'm being a silly Billy. But yeah, so that's the idea there. So Village of the Angels is just a really good episode, and I think it also serves very well as an episode that can be just consumed on its own. There are ties to the Division stuff, which are quite cool, but the visual effects of the wings on Claire's back and the transformation of the 13th Doctor into an angel, possibly one of the best cliffhangers of Doctor Who's history, regardless of your opinion on how it was then followed up afterwards. I think it was very, 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 very well done, very well written, and also answered some questions we didn't know about the Weeping Angels. For instance, one question I'd always thought in my head was, if you touch a Weeping Angel but you're still looking at them, do they send you back in time? Because that was one thing I wondered, because at one point Sally grabs the keys off the Weeping Angel's hand in Blink, and I was like, what if she touched the statue at that point, because she wasn't far off doing it. So when the old couple see the angel and he touches the statue to move it, he's instantly sent back in time. So we know that even if you touch the angel, despite them being in stone, you're gone.
You're out.
And also, what happens if you get touched by an angel twice? Because when it got touched again, they just died. They Thanos disintegrated. So yeah, got another one in. You got to stop me. You've got to stop me. Okay.
Have a shot, everyone.
Yeah, the hardest choices require the strongest wills. So
stop. Fan responses. I
hope they remember these references. So let's talk about what people have said about Jodie Whittaker's era. In conclusion,
yeah.
No, I was going to say give us a score for the era, but that might be a bit unfair. Because can you really give any era a score in a very conclusive way out of 10? Could you give?
We haven't even seen all of it yet.
That's true. That's true. Especially when we got the best episode of the whole era coming up. That's fair. So we have got 15 responses on Spotify. We've also got some YouTube comments. I don't know how we're working this. Maybe just a few from Anchor. We haven't got tons of time. I don't know. How do you want to do this? Where do you want to pick your answers from, Crispy?
I would like to pick mine from Spotify.
Okay, let's focus on the Spotify ones, and if we can try and get a YouTube one in, we can. But we'll. In fact, no, I'll slide in one from YouTube right now to make sure we've got at least one in. Because Ryan Smythe, or Smith, I don't know how it's being pronounced, but it's spelled like Smythe, so I'm guessing it's Smythe, has said, I think the thing I like most about Jodie's era is just how it looks. With style, set design, cameras, and CGI, etc., Doctor Who has never looked this good. So Ryan is clearly a man after my own heart. I appreciate that greatly. So Anchor, what have you got, Crispy? You take the lead here. What would you like to pick out as our first fan response?
This is from Saskia, and they say, this might sound a bit shallow, and in some ways it is, but the new intro, brackets, visuals and music, is the best of the new era. Perfect blend of old and new. Couldn't agree more.
I love
that. It's beautiful.
Saskia's profile picture is, what is that? That Daffy Duck taking his skin off and like looking like he's flirting.
I don't know.
One heck of a profile picture, I've got to tell you. There's a few weird ones actually. There's one a couple of answers up that's just Mike Wazowski vibrating or something. I don't know what's going on. There's some questionable profile pictures here. Actually, do you know what I've got to pick out next? Because she's clearly listened to me and gone back to Anchor. The one-time lady with her gay shaking. She has returned to Spotify. And she said,
good.
The crane scene in The Woman Who Fell to Earth has to top it. Every time I go back and watch that scene, I smile. Also, the clip with her and Ashad from The Haunting of Villa Diodati is very underrated, not going to lie.
It is good. I forgot about that scene.
The crane moment is like, it's the build-up of the whole The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which, as we've said, is a phenomenal episode and is in our top three, both of our top threes. So,
correct.
Like, the crane scene lands it really well. You know, she's kind of, the way she addresses, touch of adrenaline, knitting my brain back together. I'm the Doctor, leaping across the crane. It's fantastic. That's a great scene. Her and Ashad. Is there not more than one scene? Well, there were several scenes they had together in Haunting Villa Diodati.
In Haunting, well, I think they might be referring to when she has to hand over the Siberium. I think that's a really tense scene.
Yeah, it could be that. I was thinking when they hadn't found it yet and she was talking to him about it before they got it.
Well, they're all good, though.
They're all great.
They're all
Haunting
good.
Villa Diodati is a great episode. I can't even say it. It's fantastic. So you got good taste, Time Lady. You got good taste.
You got good taste.
Crispy,
you got good taste. Yeah. All right, this one is from, my goodness, there are 100 pulls.
I was waiting. I knew you'd pick this.
Wow.
Yeah, and the name is hashtag for the centenary, isn't it?
Yeah, because there are 100 of them now. Nice.
It's not hashtag RBBC, it's hashtag RPauls.
RPauls? So they have said, the council see that Troy is smarter than he looks.
Oi!
But Crispy, here is a question for you. Fill in the blank. The 15th Doctor will be James blank. And then they say the best moment is the end of Spyfall Part 1. James who? James,
McAvoy.
Who do I talk about? No, not McAvoy.
James,
not Bond.
James.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my God, I know who it is.
James, who?
It's James Corden from The Late Late Show. Oh, yeah.
How are we doing on runtime? Okay, not far. Not long to go.
Wrap it up.
Not long to go.
Go on, give me another one.
A mini one from Euphonium 9. Favourite moment is in Haunting of Villa Diodati, where Lord Byron says, "May I just say you are quite lovely in a crisis?" And 13 replies, "No, you may not." That's a good line.
It's a great line.
I like that.
Great line.
Throw another one, Crispy. Throw another one.
Minu Sitch, also another very small one, says, Dan the man with a pan.
I love how even in the promo we had the walk, and it was like, why has he got a walk?
I love that they use that in the promo.
Yeah, it's
Doctor Who's so cheesy. It's so good.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. What else have we got to pick out here? I want to pick something else out. Oscar Scott has said, my favourite moment is when Ryan left. Okay, no, but actually I think when the Doctor and co are forced to stay on the bus and watch Rosa get arrested, so powerful, and Rosa's instrumental piece is so good. I really love that Bradley Walsh is like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to be a part of this. There's a good kind of exchange there between him and 13, and she's like, we've got to. If we get off the bus, then history can't happen. We've got to watch this happen, which is a brave moment to put in the episode. You know, like that takes brave. A lot of guts to have that in there, you know, because it's just a very strong moment. But I agree, that's a very good one. A very, very, very good one. You got another one, Crispy?
I do have one. This one is from Mary, and they say, it's got to be the chemistry between Jodie and Sasha. Every scene with them is wonderful, even when the writing is subpar. Yeah, look, Jodie and Sasha, unreal pairing together. They are electric on screen. And just in regards to like the writing, yeah, I mean there's some clunky dialogue in the Chris Chibnall series, absolutely. But I think Jodie and Sasha, they could be given the worst script and I'd still watch it.
Yeah,
I would still watch the heck out of it.
They're fantastic. I want to do the very, very bottom response. I want to do that in a minute. So I think we do one more each and then we can wrap up the episode because it's going to lead quite nicely into the outro. I'm planning this.
Okay.
So I'm going to pick another one from the Beast Boss, who said, I really liked the visuals of the TARDIS under the water in Legend of the Sea Devils. There are some shots in this era, that one, and also, you probably know where I'm going with this, Revolution of the Daleks. TARDIS is floating in the sky, or Daleks whizzing around it. There are some shots in this era that are just like, mwah. Like, if you asked me to name an iconic shot from like a David Tennant episode, it would be a little bit harder to do, I feel like. There's definitely lots of them. But if you go, what's an iconic like shot, camera-wise, from Jodie's era, I'd go, Revolution Daleks with the TARDIS, Legend of the Sea Devils underwater. Like, those two are so visual peaks for Doctor Who, how it looks. It's beautiful.
Stunning.
What else you got, Crispy? Pick one more that isn't the bottom one.
I'm not. Okay, so this is from Henry Paul. We already kind of touched on this.
I was hoping, yep.
Yeah, my favourite moments were the Halloween Apocalypse cliffhanger and the passenger absorbing the flux because Sigan Akinola peaked composing those scenes and I didn't really enjoy his music until then. I mean, the end of Halloween Apocalypse is definitely when Sigan's music shone. Like, that, it's so good. It's so tense and it's beautiful. Beautiful. Probably Sigan's best moment in the show, I'd say.
It is. It's a great moment. It is a fantastic moment. I agree. Interesting you didn't enjoy his music until then, though. Like, his theme or, the Spy Master theme,
you mean Kylo Ren?
I can't do it so well when I'm doing it subdued. So here we go. Our final comment, because when I say what I'm going to say after this, Crispy, is going to break your heart. So here we go.
Gosh.
Felicia, our regular commenter, has said, everything Thasmin related is my favourite moment from this era, except if Yaz dies before the kiss, then I'm going to quit Doctor Who. Well, yeah, Felicia, and he said Yasmin, well, Felicia, by the next time you hear from us, and the next time that you and I speak to each other, Crispy, we will have seen the end of the Jodie Whittaker era. We will know if Thasmin have kissed, we will know if Yaz will die, and we will have seen the 13th Doctor regenerate. So for the listeners, they've only got about a day to sit with that. For you and I, we've got 4 days to sit with that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap up there very, very quickly and very, very briefly, just to sum it up and get us really tense and excited for the next episode. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get Crispy's closing comments, see if he's just going to be crying. He might well be.
I might.
We will be live tomorrow, by the time you're watching this, tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. BST UK time, 7:30 a.m. EST on the Monday morning if you're in Australia, and anywhere in between if you need to work it out for your time zones, earlier in the day for the US, obviously, as we go along. But we're going to be talking about the Power of the Doctor live, everything that happens in the episode, all our favourite moments. If there are any least favourite moments, I suppose we could touch on those, but also what happens at the end, which we don't know yet. We didn't mention earlier there was actually a leak with a picture of Jodie regenerating. We forgot to mention that, but we haven't seen it.
Yeah,
we don't want to see it.
I kind of half saw it and I was like, but I'm just glad that the scene didn't get leaked or any details. It's just a really low-res image.
The word 13 is muted on Twitter for me. Like, I've muted everything I can Doctor Who related.
So smart.
So what I get,
so smart.
Like, the phrase Power of the Doctor is unmuted just so I can see when Doctor Who tweets about it, but everything else is muted. So I won't see anything, hopefully. But we will see you all tomorrow with episode 31 of Who's There, a Doctor Who podcast, where we do our Power of the Doctor review.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Crispy, closing comments. Excited. Throw them. Go.
Guys, it's the end of an era. It's the end of an era, absolutely. So thank you very much to Jodie Whittaker. Thank you very much to Chris Chibnall and everyone involved in this era. Troy and I have had a blast. Thanks to you guys. We started a podcast. And let's bring on R2D2. Let's see what the future holds.
Really sound like you're saying R2D2 then.
R2D2.
Dun, 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 dun. That's the end of the episode. Let's go to the outro. Dun, 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 dun. Roll it. Alon Z. See you tomorrow, everyone.
Alon Z, baby.